And here is another recording, since this is the Halloween season. This is a horror piece that I wrote a few years back. Couple of points before I go into this. This video is essentially my homage and my thank you to Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, not a terribly big Edgar Allan Poe fan, but I recognize his importance and his impact on the world of literary horror and literature in general. When I wrote this, I did not realize that I was writing in the style of Edgar Allan Poe. So I kind of took that as a sign when I realized it. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, the quality of this video. This is just this is the filter that was on when I turned the camera on to start doing this. And I thought, well, it kind of fit the tone of what I'm about to read. So, bearing that in mind, this is a piece called 5 Years Ago. 5 years ago, my sanity was my own. Yet, in that writhing darkness, breathing echoes of a world, seething tendrils of insanity creeping, all of my mind was shattered. Standing there alone against the night unknown, the palest moon seen yet by man cast not a light where I did stand, but images of a foreign land, with grasping shadows tattered. How did I get there? I neither recall nor do I care. Memories prior to that frigid eve have blurred with blissful vagaries, yet they offer not a single reprieve from fears lurking just beyond sight. That church, old, dilapidated, that cemetery with its tombs desecrated. Deep in that forest with no one near, a heaviness filled that place with fear that felt like hateful forgotten years of angry and coiling spite. The air, so cold, smelled fallow and old. And then a tomb of ancient bent now stirred with sudden intent beneath its broken firmament as dead life reached to the stars. I saw it clear, a glowing fear, more like nightmare most profound, crawling up from rancid ground while grinding out the horrid sound of bones breaking to shards. I could not scream. It stared at me with what I only guess were eyes of shadow hiding pulsing lights flickering in and out of sight that glared with uncaring thought. The nightmare shambled. With darkness and bone it ambled. Crooked limbs made gestures alien. Blasphemous, gibbering presences appeared in vortices of starlight streaming in from the chaos that horrid thing wrought. I heard them in my head. Voices, archaic, almost dead. Their language, a bass and raspy shrill, broke the night with staccato trill, sundering the darkened still surrounding this scene from hell. They did not seem to care or even notice me standing there, unmoving and frozen, as if ice. I witnessed then their awful rites of power and of sacrifice. I could feel the madness swell. Reality now was ripped. I felt it. I watched as it split. It whirled and danced insane to drums and music heard in my brain, with melodies of agonizing pain to the sound of cracking thunder. I fell apart in pieces. I tried, but could not resist. I saw these creatures of writhing form flailing about in cacophonous storm, while from the sky the night was torn and the universe was rent asunder. I saw planets shift and realign. I witnessed celestial genocide as galaxies, consumed by blackest clouds of patient-directed avarice, preyed upon unsuspecting populace of world after world after world. My mind with a snap broke suddenly as I laughed with manic intensity. Through my eyes these sights unfolding brought my heart to near exploding, all the while my soul eroding. Then tight in a ball I curled. The madness shrouded me in its web. Was I alive? Was I dead? I've no idea how long I stayed there. Finally, I awoke to damp air, earthen walls, mud-crusted hair, and I knew in an open grave I lay. The sun was burning my eyes while I slowly attempted to rise. And then, upon exiting that hole of nightmare, I looked around and found the church where I had been no longer stood there. Just broken stones in the dirt and clay. I then sat down, wondering about the events that I had seen. To find any kind of meaning to fathom, I'm sure you'd have to be a madman, but I was nothing now but random pieces of what once was a man. I raised my head and gazed all around. There was no desecrated tomb to be found. Nothing was left but cold wind blowing. I felt a sudden uneasiness growing, urging me that I should be going. So I stood to my feet and I ran. It's untelling how far I roamed in a daze or how I got home. And until you came here, there's been no way to prove that any of what I say to you this dark and cloudy day is truth or maddest raving. I stay at my house alone. I never stray far from home, for fear that I might stumble again upon that scene of horror when my universe came caving in. Please forgive my strange behaving. I do not hope for understanding, but you have come here to me, asking. So I recount these happenings begrudgingly, for these days my mind perches fragilely between fragmented memories and moments of lucid dreaming. Now I've told you all that I know of this church you have found. Now go. And if on your way there, should you pass by here, don't bother knocking or coming near or in the window trying to peer. Just kindly ignore the screaming.